Hello, children. Good morning to one and all. So, welcome to the today's class, uh, and also very interesting part. We are learning about globalization in the Indian economy. So, in yesterday's class, we have learned what was the factors this that will be enable the concept of globalization to the world. So according to that one, we have discussed in yesterday point liberalization in the foreign trade and foreign investment. Some of the trade barriers are being removed by the government of India, so that they can attract the foreign countries, as well as foreign investment to our country for the development purpose. And also about technology, how the technology is playing very important role in enhancing the concept of globalization to the uh, world, as well as to the country like India, which are leading towards the development there. So another factor which enable the concept of globalization is World Trade Organization. So what is this World Trade Organization? So after the Second World War, the UNO, United States Organization, uh, that they have made some of the organizations to maintain the trade, the cultural heritage, as well as to maintain the peace and prosperity. So for that, some organizations were being made. So among those organizations, the World Trade Organization is also among them. So its World Trade headquarters, it is in Geneva, which is situated in Switzerland. So this is the headquarters. So what are the highlighting points of World Trade Organization? So World Trade Organization also aim to liberalize the foreign trade and the foreign investment in India, was supported by some very powerful international organization during that time. So, the WTO is an organization whose aim to liberalize the international trade started at an initiative of the developed countries. WTO established rules regarding the international trade and seas, so that they should obey these kind of rules and regulations in that particular place, as well as particular country. So these organizations says that all the barriers to the foreign trade and the foreign investment that are very harmful. So these rules and regulations should not be there in that particular for the foreign trade and foreign economic. So WTO is one of such organization whose aim to liberalize the international trade very effectively in the world. Through the WTO is supposed to allow free trade for all. In practice, it is seen that the developed countries have unfair retained the trade barriers. On the other hand, WTO rules have forced in the developing countries to remove all kind of trade barriers in that area. Okay, for an example, in the developed countries, still they are having some rules and regulations. Still, some trade barriers they have not fully removed. But countries like developing countries, the countries which are leading towards the developing, they have forced compulsory, they have to remove the trade barriers for their development. So WTO, the main aim of WTO means to liberalize the international trade very smoothly, very freely. All kind of products, MNCs, companies, etc. should launch in respective world for the development there. So freely the people can sell their products in the international market under the WTO. So this is the another factor which enabled the concept of globalization in the country. So moving further, next step is the steps to attract the foreign investment to our country. Okay, we are talking about our country. So some of the steps are being taken by the central government and the state government to attract the foreign trade and the foreign investment to our country. In what way? So in the recent year, the central and the state government are taking special step. Okay, they are taking some initiative step to attract the foreign companies to invest in our country. So that we call in the name of industrial zone are also called as a special economic zone, SEZ. So this SEZR have world class facility. They want the world class facility like good electricity, water, road, transportation, storage, recreational and education facilities. So they will see if the industrial zones, if the foreign companies, if we are attracting the central government and the state government, means these are the basic facilities should be given in that particular country. The companies who set up the production unit in the SEZ do not have to pay the tax for initial period of for 5 years. Okay, for an example, um, one of the company, MNC company, want to set up their company in our country. So they will see all kind of facilities. The government and the state government and the central government are ready to give the all kind of facility whatever they are needed. Okay, if they want to set up a company in 2021, means for 5 years they should not pay any kind of tax to the government. So the government has allowed flexibility in the labor law to attract the foreign investment. So whatever labor laws were been there to protect the laborers, so for that they have given some flexibility. Instead of hiring workers on the regular basis, companies are hiring workers according to the flexibility during the period of whenever they are getting the large amount of order, that time the company will hire the laborers for short period. Okay, then this is done to reduce the cost of labor for that company. So even they will get the cheap laborers during that time, and they can take the more in they can invest the more money on the production, and they can enjoy the more profit. So to attract the foreign investment, the special economic zones are being made by the central government and the state government to attract the foreign investment. So they have taken the some facilities like SE, special economic zone, some world class facilities are being given. So companies who are setting up the production unit under the SEZ, they should not pay that initial taxes for 5 years. Government allowed flexibility in the labor law to attract the foreign investment. Instead of hiring on the regular basis, regularly, instead of hiring the workers only during the period wherever, whenever they are needed, at that time the companies they will hire the laborers and afterwards they will remove them. So such kind of eh, factors are being enabled the concept of globalization in the country as well as in the world. So these are the factors which gave plus point for all the people those are doing some economic activities in the country. So, what is the impact? What is the result of globalization then? There will be such results, na? So, those results are in the last 20 years, globalization of the Indian economy has become a long way. What has been its effect on the life of the people? In what way it has been affected? So we will see through the some examples. So globalization and the greater competition among the producers, both local and foreign producers, have taken a good advantage and they have improvised their production also. We can tell, particularly in the sections which are living in the urban areas. So as a result, these people today enjoy much higher standard of living than possible earlier. Earlier it was not been there. So due to the globalization, their production also has been increased. Foreign and local producers, they are improvising their production cost as well as their products in a very good quality. So this is one of the advantage. So according to that one, first one, MNCs have increased their investment in India over past 20 years, which means investing in India have trans beneficial for them. Okay, whatever the foreign investment are being there in our country, the Indian companies are able to take a beneficial from it. MNCs have been interested in the industries such as cell phone, automobile, electronics, soft drink, fast food, or services such as banking in the urban areas. So these products have a large number of buyers. So in these industries and the services, new jobs are being created. So due to the MNCs, companies are set up in the urban areas. So how the companies are being establishing, same thing, the economic as well as the employment will be increased in that locality. Also, local companies, they will supply their raw material to the MNCs, and that raw material, whatever they are supplying to the MNCs companies, they are developing there. So this is one of the impact. So this is one of the result how the local and the foreign producers, they are enjoying and they are improvising their production by investing through the foreign investment. So secondly, several topmost company in our country have able to benefit from increased competition. Now some of the Indian companies, they are giving a tough competition in the global world. They have invested in the newer technology and produced the method and raised their production standard also. Some have gained some successful collaboration with the foreign companies. So some companies, they are collaborating with the foreign company and they are improvising their production. So this is the second result where the several topmost companies, they have improvised as well, they have increased their competition level at the global sector there. Moreover, globalization has enabled some large Indian companies to emerge as a multinational companies themselves, like Tata Motors, Infosys, Ranbaxy, Asian Paints, etc., are some of the Indian companies which are spreading their operations worldwide. Okay, they themselves only, they are launching their companies in some other countries and they are developing there. They are also doing some foreign investment in some other countries. So in this way, the topmost Indian companies in our country are playing a very multinational companies in our country. And also, globalization has created a new opportunities for the companies to provide some services, particularly involving the information technology. So Indian company producing a magazine for a London based company and call centers are some example. Besides, the host service such as data entry, accounting, administrative tasks, engineering are now being cheaply in the countries such as India, and they are exported in the developed countries. So these are the result how they are playing very important role. And this is the result when the concept of globalization was implemented in that country. So this kind of prosperous are being seen in that particular country. Even the country will lead towards the development. So not only the positive impact is there on the concept of globalization in our country, but also some negative impact is there. So what are those negative impact? So by seeing some examples, we will come to know. Okay, so this is the another example how the globalization um, imposed some of the major challenges for the small producers. The small producers sometimes they can compete with the international market, and sometimes they will perish. Perish means those small producers will close their production and they will do some other work. For an example, a rising competition between the what we can tell, a small producers and the global market. So Ravi did not accept that he would have to face some crisis in such a short period in his life as an industrialist. So Ravi was an industrialist, and within a short period, he faced some crisis. Before he was not facing any kind of problem. So when the concept of globalization was being adopted, so that time he faced some of the challenges there. So what kind of challenges means? So in 1992 he started one company which will produce the capacitors. So That industry was situated in Hosur, an industrial town in Tamil Nadu. So capacitors are used in many electronic appliances, including tube lights, television, etc. So within 3 years, he was enabled to expand his production, and he increased the employment opportunities, and he appointed 20 workers under him. So he was enjoying some benefits in an initial stage. So he struggled to run his company started when the government removed the restriction on imports of capacitors as per the agreement at WTO in 2001. So before that he was enjoying a little bit profit. So after that I have told, due to the liberalization in the foreign trade and foreign investment, whatever trade barriers were been there, it was been removed. So, because the WTO, we have agreed the rules and regulations which were been imposed by the WTO in 2001. So, as a result, the government removed the distinction. So, he started struggling to run his company. So, his main clients, like television companies, used to buy a different components, including capacitors, in a bulk for manufacture of television sets. So, however, the competition from MNC's brand forced the Indian television company to move into the assembled activities for MNCs. So, as a result of whatever his main uh, clients were been there, they started purchasing different components from the different companies. So he whatever he was having the demand in the Tamil Nadu, slowly gradually started decreasing. So even when some of them bought capacitors, that they would prefer to import, as the same price of imported item was half of the price which was charged by the people like Ravi. So whatever they were preparing, they were producing the capacitors. If they import from some other country, means they were getting some less price. So most of the television company as well as electronic appliances where the capacitors are being used, they started importing the capacitors instead of giving a order to the Ravi, because the imported goods were having a less price comparing to his price there. So now Ravi is producing half of the capacitors what he produced before in the year 2000, and has 7 workers working for him. Before, 20 workers were working in his industry. Now only 7 workers are working for him. So many of Ravi's friend in the same business in the Hyderabad and Chennai have closed their unit. So due to the concept of globalization, uh, the small producers, they have closed their units as well as they have closed their factories. So batteries, capacitors, plastic, toys, tires, dairy products, and the vegetable oil are the some of the examples where the small manufacturers are being very hit very hard due to the competition in the global level. So several units were being shut down, and many workers are jobless. Small industries in India employ the large number of workers, nearly 20 million in the country, next only to the agriculture. Due to the rise in the competition in the global world, the Ravi, his production and his unit was being closed. So in this way, sometime for the small producers, it is very difficult to compete with the MNC's company in a country. So this is one of the example. So this is also one of the negative impact of globalization in the Indian economy. So same thing, the competition and the uncertain employment will be there due to the globalization. So I have told, to attract the foreign investment, the government of India, they have given the flexibility in the labor law. Okay, so during the period whenever they are necessary, uh, whenever they are getting the high order, so that time only they will hire some workers on that basis only. So let us take the example of garment industry in India. So large MNCs in the garment industry in the Europe and the America order their products from Indian exporters. So to the Indian companies, they will give the certain orders which will come from the America and the Europe. So these large MNCs with a worldwide network look for the cheapest order goods in order to maximize their profit. In cheaply, they should get the goods, and they will supply in their area very high price, and they will enjoy large profits there. So Indian garment exporters, they will try hard to cut their own cost. As a result, the cost of raw materials cannot be reduced. Exporters try to cut the labor cost to purchase the raw materials. However, they will not cut any kind of they will not show any kind of flexibility in the purchasing of raw materials, but they will show the flexibility in the appointing the laborers during that time. Whenever they are getting the large orders, they will purchase, they will appoint some of the people, and afterwards they will remove. On the temporary basis only, the employers and the workers are being appointed in the garment areas as well as in the garment industries. And also the workers also have to put very long hours. They have to work for nearly 8 to 12 8 hours, work for night shift also on a regular basis during the peak period. Peak period means whenever the demand are being increased in the garment industry. Peak period means during the festival season, most of the people, they will try to purchase the new clothes. So wages will be very low, and the workers are forced to work overtime to make both ends meet. So while this competition among the garment exporters have allowed MNCs to make a large profit in our country, so workers are denied with a fair share benefits brought by globalization. So whatever producers are enjoying at the present situation, the workers are not enjoying there. So they are giving their full potential, full working hours to complete their order, but they are getting very low wages, and they are forced to work overtime also. Even though they are getting the less wages, they have to work for more time. So these are the two examples where we will see a negative impact of globalization on the life of the people. So first one is some of the smaller units, smaller producers, they have closed their units, and some of the people, the employment level is very in a very bad condition there. So the condition of workers are the hardship of the worker described above have become a more common in too many industries unit and the services in India. Most of the workers today are employed in the unorganized sector. Unorganized sector means here the laborer law are not being implemented. They are giving the flexibility for that purpose. So most of the workers, they are employed under unorganized sector. Moreover, increasingly condition of workers in the organized sector have come to the resemble to the unorganized sector there. Workers in the organized sector such as Shushila no longer get the production and the benefits that they were enjoyed earlier. So these are the results, whether it is in a positive way or a negative way. The concept of globalization has been um, imposed. Then how about its struggle? So people at the present situation, they are struggling for the fair globalization. So fair globalization would create the opportunities and also ensure that the benefits of globalization should be shared in a better way. Okay, so the above evidences indicates that not everyone are benefited through the globalization. People with the education, skilled and wealth have made the best use of new opportunities. On the other hand, there are many people who are not shared these kind of benefits what the large scale industries are getting the benefits. So since the globalization is now reality, the question is how to make a globalization more fair so that The people those are not getting any kind of benefit, how they should get all kind of benefits to the globalization. So according to that one, the government policies must protect the interest of these people, not only for rich but also ensure that the labor law are being implemented properly in the industries and the factories, and the workers get their rights. And time to time, they should become strong enough to compete in the global level there. If necessary, the government can use the trade and investment barriers once again to improvise the conditions of the people. Okay, so how to make, because only one part of set of the people they are getting the benefit, and the another set of the people they are not getting any kind of benefits and they are struggling. So uh, for that struggle only, the government of India has to support the small producers to improvise their performance, so that they should also become very much strong enough to compete with the MNC company. So, if necessary, they can impose, the government can impose the trade barriers and the investment once again. The government can negotiate the WTO for fair rules. So, for developed countries, some rules and regulations are there, some developing countries, some rules and regulations are there. Means WTO, they should negotiate to give a fair rules and regulations for them. So, a massive campaigning and representation of the by the people organization has influenced the important decisions relating to the trade and investment at the WTO. So, this demonstrated that the people also can play an important role in the struggle of fair globalization in the Indian market. So, in this way, the concept of globalization at the present situation, due to the massive struggle, some of the rules and regulations, the government of India and the WTO, they are um, taking some important decisions to protect the laborers, the employers, those are working in their particular region there. So, last but not the least, so in this chapter, you have looked what are the phases of globalization. Globalization is a process, a rapid integration of the countries that is happening through the great foreign trade and foreign investment, and how the MNCs are playing very important role, and what are its location, and how the concept of globalization has been impacted, which has been affected on the life of the people, and how the fair globalization, the concept of fair globalization should be implemented in the country through the struggle. So this is the Indian economy and the globalization which is there at the present situation. So I hope today's class you have understood. So if you are having any kind of doubt, you can just pin your question in the group so that I will try my level best to sort out your problem. So signing out, have a great day. Bye everyone. Be healthy and be safe.